It's true.
It's amazing.
No projections tonight. No, I mean,
That
I wanted to project. Ready to go? Please rise. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Today is Monday, June the 10th. Fiscal officer will take the roll.
Bell.
Here.
Berger.
Here.
Canton.
Here.
Kavanaugh. Here. Stuckey.
Here.
Porter.
Here. We have minutes from the the May 28th, 7 o'clock council meeting. Any changes or corrections in those minutes? Have a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Recuse. Wasn't here.
That's right.
You can tell me whether the
You
minutes
can
are right
still
or not.
vote. Okay, minutes are approved. We have a visitor with us tonight. This is Jake Evans. Jake is a junior at Twin Falls High School. He is been with us, I think, from the last fall. Started. He's involved in football and track, so he started this project then. He's got plenty of time to complete it. He has presented to the property committee and to the park committee. You have a packet of information in front of you. We're going to change the dates on the packet on the very front page. But other than that, he is well on his way. This is a project that we've had people ask for years. A little bit idea, where they're going, what they're doing. Not that many people get lost or cannot figure out how many steps, but this will help people at the park. So Jake, the floor is yours.
My name is Jake Evans, and I'm a member of Troop 241, Twin Falls. And my project is to create trail maps in the park, down the road there. And so my original plan was to create just 2 freestanding ones at each entrance. But with some review and some peer review, I decided on with one of the kiosks on the side of the park, just because they are used too much, and I think it'd be a good usage of them. And I still went with, on the back page, there's a map I pulled online that has 2 freestanding maps in the middle of the park, main intersections really, for hikers. And these are gonna be wood maps, 2x2 with an aluminum surface that's got a print on it. Just because I saw another project which kind of had some damage done to it. I figured this would be a good way to avoid that. And it'll be about 3 feet off the ground and 3 feet in the ground below the frost line. Make sure it's not going to be toppled over or anything, have any problems. Other than that, the design for the map is on the second page. So it will have a map of the park. It'll have trail distances. On there, it's a mile, but I can change it to feet or something because the trails aren't too long. But it has a questions and concerns section, a QR code where I can put an online map that can be scanned. It'll have a key just showing different parking lots, the playground, the gazebos, all that. And then the Boy Scouts label on the bottom right corner.
Have we thought of naming the trails? And that's just a
They
question.
were done last year or 2 years ago. And there's a mistake. Stakes that are in the ground with the labels got in the wrong location. So
Okay.
that's something we'll have to work on. You'll end up cleaning up somebody else's project from last year. We just gotta take some stakes out and put them in a different location. But yeah, the trails have all been staked out by, I can't think of his name right now, but they're marked and labeled.
Okay.
I'd also like to say I will change this date to, I'm gonna go with July 14th through the 16th. now. I'll write that on here, but I figured it's just worth mentioning just because the state is wrong on paper as it is right now.
And that's when you'll have the young men come help you?
Yeah,
Okay.
Jacob, I forgot, when's your 18th birthday?
September
September.
September what, honey?
14th.
Okay.
I think we've told you, or I've mentioned a couple times, we did one the night before he turned 18, so.
But you don't want to be doing this when you're back in school, so, yeah.
All right, any questions or concerns?
The sign, the wooden sign with the paint on there, the water resistant paint or weatherproof paint, tell me about that, because I just don't know how long might that last.
So the paint I was planning on using was, I don't have a specific one yet, but I was gonna really have an emphasis on something that's weatherproof, like just, it might have to put like certain layers on or some like protective coating. I didn't plan on putting what was it called? A laminate coating over top to kind of protect it.
You
But,
did plan on that or not?
Yeah, so I
okay.
will be doing that over the whole sign.
Uh-huh,
I'll probably go over the aluminum, just to protect the whole thing.
okay.
But I'm gonna have a lot of emphasis on making sure the paint is.
Tim is real good at this stuff, so you might want to pick his brain.
Well, the other sign is laminated to the plastic, and so no moisture can't get in it or anything, it works really well.
Okay, good. So I'll shut it, that's a definitely a yes for that.
You can look at the playground, look at that one, how that's put in.
Okay, got it.
Jake, what we'll do, the first project using hot cars basically melted.
Yeah.
So the same gentleman has replaced that one for free. The second, the boys do the interurban, in fact, Saturday morning, he marked out his location for his, and you're the third one using the hot cars. The first one has been terrific. It's lasted, I mean, it's right out in the bright sun. There's no protection. So this has really worked out.
What is hot cars?
Hot cards, can you explain hot cards better than I can maybe?
Yeah, so it's a company in Village that just does prints and signs and.
Oh, okay.
Posters and for banners and just, sells good.
Okay, great,
Charlie Zimmerman's, the Underground Railroad display,
right,
that's a hot car.
okay,
And the one next to it with the interurban will be a hot car, and this will be a third one.
Good.
What we will do is when
Hot
you.
car?
Hot car.
Okay.
Hot car. What we'll do,
Mr. D on
when
that.
you get ready, we'll work with the street commissioner, that's Tim Alder, so we know exactly where it's going, how it's going in. As I said, we measured for the other kid on Saturday. Tim's already found that's not gonna work, so he's the final word, his guys. And you've done a lot with the scout projects. All right, somebody from property committee want to do a motion to approve this Eagle Scout project?
Jerry's gonna do it.
Okay, this time I'd like to make a motion that the council votes and approves this particular Eagle Scout activity.
You have a second?
Second,
Discussion?
Did the Parks Committee
Yeah.
approve
Yeah,
this?
he's presented to the park committee already.
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, Jake, you're well on your way. We'll be in touch after tonight and get everything organized, so.
Thank you.
work
thank you,
things out.
Jay, thank you for coming.
Thanks, Jay.
Okay. Mrs. Gavin Daddy, welcome. She's the new reporter for the Maple Leaf. There's a sign-in sheet there, and there's also an agenda on this chair right up here, so you can get an agenda and catch along. Well, I'll stay after to talk to you about the Boy Scout.
Thank
And
you so much. My cat has surgery, so it's about after.
Councilman Canton and Councilman Kavanaugh, they've met. These kids all go through a screening process, and they've been through the park committee. This is just a formal activity,
Oh,
getting them going.
that sounds like a good story.
Okay, next, we're at the mayor's report. I gave you a couple pages of things we wanted to talk about. Probably the first thing I wanted to do is under the building department, is to appoint Kevin Takis to be the second alternate to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Kevin's lived in the village for about 6 years. He came to me at Trash Day and said, hey, I'd like to get involved. And I said, well, this is what we need. He said, well, that's what my dad did. His dad was a long-time Bainbridge Township trustee. Solicitor, I don't know, did you ever work with Don?
I did, yes.
Okay. So this is his son. His son's living in, lives on Schneider Road. He, what we do is we had him attend the last BZA meeting so that he could see what it was all about and to see if it's something he wanted to do. He said yes. Interesting, at the last BZA meeting, we were missing somebody, and so we only had 4 people, and you always like to have an odd number. So we now have 2 alternates for the BZA. So, an issue, Chris Bell, could you make a motion to approve Kevin Takis as the second alternate?
Sure,
to the Board of Zoning Appeals?
Solicitor, am I saying confirm?
Yeah, hold on a second, honestly, I'm looking at it right now, I apologize, because. Right, it would be a motion to approve the appointment of the mayor, correct?
Approve.
Or
Okay.
confirm.
Confirm, okay. I'd like to make a motion to confirm the mayor's appointment of Kevin Takis to be the second alternate on the Board of Zoning Appeals.
So moved.
Moved and seconded, discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes, all right. One other thing coming up, building committee, you don't know about this. The building department normally gets interviewed every couple of years by the Interstate Commerce Commission, and they were checking on us, and our residential advisory board, the people who are on that, their terms have expired. This is the board that the state requires us to have. And what happens on the residential advisory board, 3 people, if somebody has a discussion or a complaint about building inspections or the building department, it starts with the residential advisory board. So we will be looking for 3 people to serve on this committee. I don't recall it ever being used, but it is one of those requirements from the state of Ohio. So we'll be looking for 3. If you have anybody that's interested in getting involved with the village, please let me know.
So that's like a new board?
I guess it's been around forever.
Okay.
And these were, I remember doing it with Laura Heilman. We have got 3 people on it, but we've never done anything in my years here. If they ever have a complaint, this is where it starts first.
Okay.
Is that about right?
Yeah, have they ever reached out before the ICC and say, hey, where is this board, why isn't it in?
I just remember Laura one year said, hey, you gotta get this up to date. And I think we did it, and then as time's just passed, so
We did the board, and then
they
they
never
never
did
met.
anything.
Okay,
So I don't know how long their terms are, if those people, it was a while ago. before it
Yes,
was-
wow. And last week, they did a phone interview with Ruth Griswold, and that was one of the things they pointed to, hey, you guys gotta do this.
So there was no need for the board to meet, so it never met?
No, nobody's ever had an issue. That's probably the only thing we really need I wanted to get done tonight. Different things and different activities for each committee. We'll kind of knock those off as we go along. So, any questions of the mayor?
Are there any other boards that fall into that same category?
for instance, like the Board of Building Code Appeals, is that the same board?
I think
Is that
building code
actually the
appeals, yes.
Okay,
I think that
okay.
may be their formal name.
The only reason I ask is that is in our codified ordinances for sure, and maybe like you said, it may have been created and established members, but there was never maybe any complaints or appeals, or
I'll look that up.
they never really met, so, but it's definitely it's in 1448, chapter 1448 of our codified ordinances.
Okay,
And it's to consider matters pertaining to building construction in the village and to hear appeals and requests for variance from the building and housing code.
Do we have a building and housing code?
Well, we've adopted the Ohio,
Sure,
building
but
code.
isn't that the building code?
It's the Ohio building code, correct?
Do we need to change the verbiage in the ordinance?
Maybe I'll have to look at the definitions. My my assumption is that it includes that.
Any amended codes? that
Yes,
come
we
forward?
did make we did change, the establishments of all the codes that we were adopting to be any of those that are amended from time to time.
Yeah,
But the housing code, yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
doesn't ring a bell,
Me
so,
neither, but the building does, so I'll have to look.
okay.
And did we decide there's no other boards that exist but don't have members?
Isn't there a tax?
We have a tax board of review.
Yeah, tax board of review.
And
In fact, we're looking
it
for,
meets,
we didn't want,
You know,
Whenever
tax board
someone
review.
requests a hearing, if they ask for an abatement and they don't like my answer, they can go before the tax board of review. But I will say now that the CCA, they get tax records from the IRS and everything's cross-checked that way. So we don't have many cases because people aren't getting behind as much.
so it would only be for CCA, the property thing that would go to the
Right,
county.
but just
Okay.
income tax.
Okay, but are there any members on the
We
tax
have 3
board?
members, but they haven't met in years. So might be that we'd look to see if we can get
See if those members are still
around.
around.
And I think one of them isn't,
Okay, well,
maybe 2 of them are.
all
No,
right.
he's still alive.
Is he? Okay, so
All right, well, I just wondered.
I'll look
Okay.
into that.
All right. No questions of the mayor. We were off to the fiscal officer.
First of all, I wanted to know, is everybody going to be at the July 8th council meeting that you know of?
Not me.
So we have one, so the rest of you will be, okay. Because that's the day to adopt the tax budget for next year, and it has to be done by July 10th, so we're good with that. In my report, did you read about the newsletter, and so how did you want to proceed? Do you want, we got all the dates in for the rest of the year, do you want this to be the last hard copy and then get it everywhere that we're just electronic now, or do you want to continue going with the Maple Leaf for the rest of the year?
If I may make a comment, this is well done. I mean,
Leslie does
She
a
did a
fantastic.
really great job with it, and the color, the color.
Trying to get people's attention, and I think it's
That's-
helping off.
That's why, I understand going, without the hard copy, but having this in my hand and looking at it and reading it, it's impressive.
It is nice. And it was Leslie's idea to call Maple Leaf to find out if there was anything they could do. And so they can mail it for us. We don't have to have the bulk permit, and it doesn't cost that much more, like maybe $20 or $30 more for them to prepare it, mail it.
Bruce, you were going to say something?
That's been on the website, though.
Yeah, we always put it on the
newsletter's
website.
been on the website. You might just not have seen it.
Oh, no.
It is good, it looks good. I'm fine with, that would be our last one,
Can I offer a different suggestion?
yes,
You're on the Chagrin Falls Alumni
I
Board.
am.
I talked to Brian McKenna. They stopped passing out their newsletter. And they tried to slowly wean people. I also talked to John Sangel. He's
From Orange.
Yeah, the Orange, and they just gone. But I think if we just cold turkey, let's go one more. And then, I think, what she did tonight is right there in front of you. Give them one more, because we've got some things in the fall, and then just,
So this one and the fall one, and then be it
Yeah,
totally.
Right, and then go, and then from then on, it's an electronic document.
I think that would be a good idea.
So, I did read it, but can we put on that last one, last paper copy at the very first page? and
Yeah,
some
but
big letters?
not on this one, on the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that would help.
We didn't do that because we weren't sure how you were gonna go. We were gonna adjust that paragraph depending how tonight goes.
Alumni did the same thing, it was, it's cost, and it's not a huge budget at alumni, so.
And we do, we did it 4 times a year, but if we're doing it digitally, we can do it more often. We can
Sure.
send something out monthly, and we do have 616 people signed up now, so we're hoping we get more. Now, you don't know if they're residents or not, you just know they're signed up. But if we're gonna really try to push it, put it at the parks, try to get something in the newspaper, and then at the fall festival again. So hopefully we get more people to sign up, but if we can get it in their face and make it colorful, and Leslie does a fantastic job with that, so. Okay. And in my report, I had some finance things. I'm working on the tax budget. And since this is the last council meeting before we have to adopt that, I did have some questions, so I know how to prepare that. So for the park restroom, the price we have that we got in January, is that still a good price?
Yes.
And then we would order it this year and then we build it next year, do you know?
But it's roughly around 6 months after you order
And do you know, do we have to put the money down on it when we order it?
it. That, I don't know the financial end.
Right, if you guys can give me that contact info, then maybe I'll call them and find out so I can get it in the tax budget appropriately. And then the crosswalks, I know we're doing the one by the park this year. Are we going to look to do that other one next year, or should you want it in the budget for now and then? Because I have to try to get an estimated budget so I know what revenues need to be where for next year.
I thought the chief said he wanted just the one crosswalk.
True, but what Danielle is asking for is whether the next one should be in a,
Yeah, for next year.
Next
Are you
year,
guys
yeah,
trying to avoid it?
So we could earmark it,
yeah.
but not go forward.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I mean, it's prudent to probably put the money aside and, you know, as we go forward, because right now we're getting mixed signals from the school in terms of their support for it, but it's not a bad idea to just have it in the budget.
School was not enthusiastic at all.
And if we budget for it and we don't do it, then money just, it goes back to general fund.
And in the fall, you'll determine what the budget truly is. This is just so I don't know where to put revenues, so we have budget expenses. And then for Eric, the central retention basin, will we get the rest of that done this year?
Absolutely.
And then the salt dome, can you tell me realistically, will it be done, built? Like when will our expenses be, this year, next year? To be realistic.
To be realistic, I would say next year, because I'm very conservative when it comes to timetables, but I don't know.
And the problem is if I put it in for this year, then we're not gonna have the revenue when we try to budget it next year. And then the east, Bell Road East Culvert this year.
Already covered this year.
Thank you. And then if everybody noticed before you today was the computer fobs from the county. So, if you heard on the TV, which I didn't hear till after they all left today, at 5 to 7 this morning, they all came in and we had computer people everywhere and it was just kind of, it was a lot, but you know, especially when you don't understand their language, but they got it in, my computer is still downloading files, Tim's is still downloading files, so that'll take a while. But those are your fobs, so you'll be able to have access to your documents on Microsoft and all that. I asked them to put together some kind of instruction sheet for you, so I want you to have the fobs, but we're gonna follow up with more information, but at least you have the fobs in your hands, and then, because I'm sure you're gonna need some stuff before the next council meeting, and then we'll get in touch with you, how to set them up. They don't know if they'll send somebody out one day for you guys to come in and do it, or you call them and walk them through. So, we're not done with the setup, they'll be back out tomorrow, so I'm gonna try to let you know, but just so you have the fobs.
Did you know they were coming this morning?
I thought they were coming at 8, so when they came in at 5 to 7, and like all these cars just kind of was like, whoa. But,
Siege.
yes, but they were very, I was just like, wow, they're really on time, and, you know, they knew what they were doing, and, you know.
But this is just particular to South Russell.
Those are particular to your email and your documents that you'll have through Microsoft, and things you want to access. That way you can access your things, but if you don't have the fob with you, you can't get into it. It's a security measure for cybersecurity and stuff.
This is the stuff that gives me a worse headache.
So,
Does that include like email and mobile devices? You're not sure?
I'm not sure.
Okay, that's
Because
totally
like I said, I need somebody to
Sure.
dumb it down for me, so, and that's,
That's a good question though.
yeah, no, I know. When he explained it, but like I said. Okay, so that's all I have.
Questions of the fiscal officer?
Are the laptops, anything gonna happen with them, or are they gonna be independent from that system?
The laptops, you'll need the fob to access your laptop.
Okay, so I'll need one of those.
Yeah.
For the,
Because they're gonna come back tomorrow,
Okay.
primarily over in by you. So they'll get them, and then your guys will open them.
Fiscal
well, one
officer.
fob can be shared with the crew, right?
One per each.
One person gets his own fob.
The newsletter then is going to go through Maple Leaf. That won't be out next week, will it? The reason I mention is we're closed next Wednesday for June 19th. And the newsletter says we'll close July the 4th.
Oh, so we should add the June, that one.
Well, do you think it really will be out by
Well,
now?
if we send it to them tomorrow, that just takes them a couple days, so we'll put that in.
Okay,
Good catch.
So this is for people like me, they need big red letters, last paper copy on the next one.
On the next one, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I would be.
Danielle, they'll also be mailing it though, won't they? Or will we still have to address?
Maple Leaf, no, they're going to print it and then prepare it, because you have to fold it with the sticky tabs in certain places, and then they're gonna mail it. So we give them the address label, the list of addresses, and then they mail it with their bulk permit, and then we pay them.
would it just be easier to drag her feet so that they get it next Thursday? Not have to change the.
When we call tomorrow, we'll find out how long it'll take.
I think that's an A+, Ruth. There's nothing else you can do to hit people aside of the head
Yeah,
than what's done on that newsletter.
Well, would there be a possibility that if someone wanted a paper copy,
Yeah, we wrote in there that they can always come here and get them, or, Chris Berger said something, we could always put a box outside and put so many in there and see if they come after hours, or at least for a while, see how many people do you want them.
or they call and they would like it mailed to them? Is that an option for, I'm thinking about people who don't get on the computer very often or something
Yeah, we
like
could do
that.
that and track it and see how many people we get.
In your report, we talk about the daily bank deposit. My suggestion, what I'd like to see is you have a set of keys for Tim's car, the street department car. I also think we should get a set of keys for the police extra car. Because like when Dan's here for the summer or somebody takes the car and you need it, so we can now have 2 cars, 2 sets of keys for both the vehicles, so that if somebody needs a vehicle.
Police is hard because it's got, it's an unmarked police car, so it has law enforcement equipment, so when we need it, they have to empty it.
I
And
believe
Dan
it's-
is now an
I don't
independent.
believe they have any police, anything inside that vehicle. There's no lights, there's no anything. There's no radio, nothing.
No computer, no shotgun in the back.
I believe it's stripped completely. Did we-
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought they were using
It's
from
not-
Mark. Well, I'll find out.
Okay,
And then, Dan doesn't use that car anymore. Remember, he's an independent contractor.
that's right, okay.
So.
The other thing, would it just be easiest if we have to go to the bank every day, that she goes at 3:30?
Nope, because that was the problem before, because the building department closes at 3. Sometimes she's running behind by the time we get it and trying to get to the bank by 4. That's why Leslie was taking her personal car and then we had the issue. So it's just easier we have to, per our law, we have to get it deposits there within 24 hours. So if they get it to us 3 in the afternoon, we get to the bank the next day at lunchtime, we meet our 24-hour obligation. And Tim is usually at lunch. We try to do it when he's at lunch, so it doesn't interfere.
so you can't take it the next morning? It has to be that late after?
No, if she brings me over the money by 3, I have to have it in the bank the next day by 3. So if I take it the next day at lunchtime, then we meet that
Because
requirement.
3:30, I don't want to go near there.
Now, just to be sure though, our guys are not valets, so what about the wintertime? Someone's gonna walk over, dig a car out of a foot of snow and,
Employees shouldn't be using personal cars for village business is what it comes down to, so. And we've let it go, but now there was an issue, and an employee's out money, so.
Get you right on a snowplow.
When they build the new self-storage building, you'll have covered storage on there.
covered storage, yeah.
And an ATM?
Not that,
All right, any other questions of the fiscal officer? Finance committee, you're up.
No report except to say that the next finance meeting will be June 13th at 10 a.m.
Anything else from the finance committee? I would like to, and this is coming at you quick, Steve Balaban, the grant writer, said he would submit an application to NatureWorks. They're due August the 1st. They have a grant for $150,000. The restroom at the park would qualify. His rate is $50 an hour. Since we just applied last year with Chagrin Rivers, he thinks he would charge us less than $1,000 to submit the grant. We could get anything that I think it's smart to spend $1,000 to possibly get. But we'd have to hire Steve tonight so he could get on this.
I can appreciate that. And if we don't get it, the restroom will go up to 100. Unfortunately, that's what happens.
Well, August 1st, which we're waiting anyway, right?
I'll call them tomorrow and see if how long this 112 is good for.
Yeah.
Please.
What was the feedback we got when we were declined?
Yeah, that's a good question. Last year, there was only $16,000 for all of Geauga County, and it went to Thompson for a playground, which I thought, yeah.
Was that 150,000 for all of Geauga County this year?
You know, I don't know for sure. He did say this would be worth $150,000.
So we really don't know what we'd be asking for or what the amount that could be potentially granted.
Potential's $150,000.
That means if we got everything.
The ask almost always outstrips what's available in every grant situation. The people who administer those grants have the unfortunate task of, as barely as possible, divvying that money up. Just because you ask for $150,000 does not mean you're going to get $150,000 or any dollars.
You know, the one thing that I support Jerry in is it seems like history is repeating itself here. And, you know, we the restroom for $80K and then sought a grant that fell through, and meanwhile costs went up and up and up. I'm just concerned about, you know, maybe getting something, not getting it, and being faced with even more expense to the village.
Now, the architect who came here a month ago or so,
And then,
how much did we pay her?
$6,000.
$6,000,
Got nothing.
and she promoted a restroom facility for $250,000.
yeah,
And we spent, how much for the $16,000 grant, potentially? How much did we spend for that? $1,000?
I don't know.
I would say at least for them
1,000?
to do the
Okay,
application.
so I say go for initial restroom, 120,000 plus the money, 10,000 for the well. I say let's go for it right now before it goes up one more penny.
Can I say something? Would it be possible for Tim and I tomorrow to call the restroom facility so I can find out what I need for the budget? We find out when it's due. Then if I contact Balaban and find out if this grant, if it's okay, if we have to wait. I'm moving forward with the project till after we find out if it's awarded. Some you have to wait. Some we can start the project, we can order it, and if we get the money, fine, but then at the next council meeting, council would have to commit. We're doing a bathroom for this much money, and then if the grant comes in, it comes in, and if not, but then at least if I talk to Steve, you will know if you'd have to wait or not wait.
That would cover the
I
basis.
think that's a prudent course of action.
Yeah, so I just have one more question. So the August 1st date, that's just for turning the grant in? That's not,
Application.
okay, then I'm on board with Chair.
Yeah, I wouldn't wanna wait on the grant like we did before.
Right.
You know, the 120,000 is 40 grand more than the other one, right? But let's not get bid and find out the hard way, you know, it's the 120,000 facility is now 200,000, and the 251 is now 300,000. It's pretty soon,
Gold-plated fixtures.
pretty soon the porta potties look pretty good. I mean, you know, the porta potties been used for, I don't know, 20 years now, something like that.
Since
Or
2008,
it's 11, it's 2014, right?
and we started using, Park opened in 8, so we didn't have porta potties for a while, you're right.
It was a while.
Yeah.
So back to the point, if we use Danielle's suggestion, what does council have to do tonight to allow Balaban to go forward, if this all makes sense?
So we can make a motion for this, I think.
Yep.
Would you prefer an ordinance?
They need legislation to do the buy the bathroom because it's so
Not the
expensive.
bathroom for sure, but the actual, for going for Belmont, up to $1,000, right? This is going to be his fee,
Mhm.
right?
Got it
We
in
can do
writing.
that motion.
I'll make the motion.
But is it contingent upon?
Yeah.
Okay.
I move that the village engage Steve Balboni as an independent contractor for purposes of submitting an grant application for the restroom project at the North Park, and that the amount paid him for his services not exceed $1,000, contingent upon the fiscal officer and the streets commissioner getting a satisfactory answer as to whether it is a reimbursement grant or a grant that has to be in hand before construction begins. So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Okay, and just one quick amendment. Steve Balaban.
Sorry.
Steve Balboni played for the Kansas City Royals.
It's not the same guy?
Yeah, no.
Thanks, Chris, I was gonna say the same thing.
I don't remember. Was he a good player?
Okay, let's, so we're looking at $1,000 to Steve Balaban. All right? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay,
Nay?
yes.
Where's Pat? Please went so quickly, I didn't get to say anything.
Oh,
So I said nay.
okay. 5-1. Anything else, finance? Couple comments, just to the finance. The mayors had a presentation last week for the Chamber of Commerce. Chagrin Falls announced that 40% of their budget that they have right now is coming from federal funds.
Wow.
Which, you know,
Because of
I
the
don't know how that
bridge?
stands, but 40% of all their money is federal funds.
Is it because of the bridge?
Grants, probably,
I
I'm
think a
assuming.
lot of grants, but I
Bridge
think,
and playground?
Well, for the sewage treatment
And
plant.
wastewater.
Miles Road.
Yeah,
could be. The other thing, and I don't know how this goes with our county asking us to reduce taxes, Pepper Pike announced that they have 2.5 times their budget in the bank. Just throwing that out.
Don't you get in trouble if you have that?
It's kind of,
If you have it earmarked for something, probably not.
You have more curveball hitters in Pepper Pike.
they're putting in a really nice restroom facility.
Also, at the Finance Committee, I forgot to put it in my notes to you. Judy Harvey, the creator of the Tom Harvey Garden at the park, is looking to us to create an endowment fund so that she could help finance landscaping, maintenance of the Harvey Garden, and a possible brick walkway from the pavilion to the Harvey Garden, and to enclose the inner ring of the Harvey Garden, which is presently in grass, to put that in brick also. Use the maintenance, so that's something to think about at the Finance Committee.
The endowment?
She would like us
She
to
would-
create a way to have an endowment fund, and she would be funding.
I don't think that's legal.
the endowment.
Yeah, I don't know. We'd have to look into that.
Okay,
But Mayor, can I suggest that that project be sent to the Parks Committee for their opinion as to whether or not such brick sidewalk and ring and all this other stuff is appropriate for the park before we decide how we're going to finance the maintenance of it?
definitely.
Thank you.
All right, anything else on finance? Solicitor, you're up.
I have nothing to report.
Questions of the solicitor? Hearing none. Engineering.
Thank you, Mayor. While we are on the topic of grant discussions, I did submit an OPWC pre-application to the Ohio Public Works Commission for the Hemlock Road storm sewer, or storm culvert, upsizing that. Streets Committee, Utilities Committee are both very familiar with our need there. I came up with an estimated cost of about $79,400. Total project cost of $92,400, and asked for a 50% grant, which would put the village's share at $46,200 for the whole shebang. We'll find out in the coming month or so whether our pre-app is picked up, but we've had a very good track record with submitting WC pre-apps and final apps, so I remain hopeful. The only other thing that I have on my list of notes to share is that this year's road program is scheduled to start up, weather depending, on or around June 25th, and that's for Southwood Drive.
Questions of our engineer?
Yeah, if you don't mind. The OPWC grant, I just need some clarification. We're talking about in conjunction with Russell Township, but I didn't see their name on the grant application.
It's us that's applying for it, not them.
But weren't we talking about splitting funds with them?
We can absolutely discuss talking about splitting our local share with them,
Okay,
but two communities can't apply
for one grant,
Yeah,
okay,
one has to take the lead, and since the problem is on our side of the road,
okay.
or the problem manifests itself on our side of the road, we submitted the grant, plus I think I'm better at preparing the grant than they are.
Have we entered into any discussions with them to see if they are even interested in sharing the costs? Because the premise almost was, as, you know, just mentioned, that it was supposed to be a cost share type thing.
Right.
So have we even broached the subject with them?
I personally have not.
Dennis, I can speak to that. When, maybe my ears were bad, but I thought originally I heard a number of 600,000.
Yeah, no one talked about $600,000.
Okay, the email that I sent to the Russell Township trustees asking to be put on the agenda to discuss it was for 600,000. So when I went to the meeting, they weren't really happy to see me, and I said, well, at that point, we thought it was gonna be down to 200. I was with one of their trustees last week to say it was down to 92. So no, now that we know the price, I think I will go back to them and see if we can cost share.
Yeah, our local share, provided we get a 50% grant, is $46,200.
So that would be split in two then?
Yeah, so we're looking for 23,000 from
Okay.
Russell.
That's the hope.
Right.
So,
But the
That's the
reality
best
is, the
hope.
problem is starting on our end of the pipe.
Right.
So as far as the world is concerned, it's our problem.
They're impacted though, because water does go all over the road, and it is a safety concern, a very legitimate safety concern for the owners of both sides of the street.
It is, but I would not count on them paying half the cost of the local share.
Right.
And we don't want to wait on them saying yea or nay to wait on the project.
So let's find out if we can get the grant.
Yeah, let's find out about the grant, do the fix.
So we should, I don't know, the reason why we're so successful as a village in getting these OPWC grants is because I lobby behind the scenes and loudly. It doesn't hurt to just, I don't know, let the other interested party know that, hey, you know, our share potentially is gonna be 46,200. Start planning for that, because we're gonna be asking you for something. It doesn't hurt to ask often and early.
I'll go back.
It does no harm. To
Yeah,
do
there's no
this
harm.
again, and now that the mayor shot the bejeebers out of it, 23 grand's gonna sound like a year.
Come rest, I'm gonna keep waiting, I'll keep going.
Yeah, I know, we got like $50 and they'll be like, okay.
They didn't throw me out.
Well, that's good. I might have it, you can ask me for 600.
I don't know where I heard 600,000.
I thought it was 4. I thought it was
Here's a thought, should someone contact those neighbors that were here and upset at the last meeting, was it the last meeting?
Mhm.
And just let them know that you guys have done all this work, that
And
it's
we're moving forward with this.
moving forward.
Didn't we tell them that we would have information at the Public Utilities Committee meeting, and it was gonna be on
Yes, you
June
did.
the 9th? Which doesn't make sense, because the 9th was Sunday.
I have something in my calendar.
Because we said, we'll have information for you at the
I
next
have
meeting.
June 13th in my calendar, and that's our Public Utilities meeting at 9 AM. And I specifically have a note on there that says Hemlock Farms, but that's just on my
Okay.
calendar.
So now, public,
But I think we're getting ahead of ourselves, but I think Public Utilities is planning a meeting June 14th, which is Friday.
14th, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday or
We're gonna
Friday.
be here for the streets meeting.
Oh, you know what, I'm going to be here for the streets meeting, but I have to go, either at the very end of streets committee meeting or slightly before streets committee meeting ends, because I have a project meeting with Cleveland CWD, Cleveland Water Division, at 9 AM at their Harvard plant location in Newburgh Heights.
So we'll bring the residents up to date about what we're doing.
Okay.
And I think that if they come, they'll hear, and if not, we'll let them know along the way.
Okay.
could just, we could probably handle this with a simple email to Bill Stone, who communicates with people. If they come here and say, and we tell them, oh, hey, we're gonna apply for a grant for $92,000, that's what we're doing,
Have applied.
have applied,
True, but
fine.
what I
It'd be a
think,
waste of their time, I think.
what I would suggest here is we tell them, we're going to do this project.
Regardless.
It's going to cost $96,000.
Right.
We've applied for a grant which may pay for a portion of it, but we are going through with the project earlier than we had thought,
Correct,
because
correct.
we had mentioned next year for this. Instead, we're talking about this year and doing it this year,
The grant was for next year.
or doing it early next year.
The OPWC is one of those grants that you can't award a contract until after July 1st or thereabouts
Of next year?
of next year.
All right,
Tell you what, how about Tim and I will get them notified that, hey, we're having this meeting, you can come.
we have some information for
Okay,
We would also need to notify Mr. Steele on Hemlock.
you.
Yeah, he's
Okay,
right.
and he would not be in the loop with the other residents on Fairview, so.
okay.
Well, that brings up a question. Do we want to do the Hemlock Heights this year and forego the grant? Or go with the grant and do it next year? I mean, yet again, we're applying for a grant, holding up action in the expectation of perhaps getting the grant, though we have an excellent track record of getting these
With
grants.
this funding source, yes.
Although the 92 is not budgeted for this year.
It is not.
So that would mean, where does that money come from?
I would suggest that you wait for the grant money. I think this is a big enough dollar amount with a high probability of success. Get the grant money and do it next year.
We'll know in a month or so.
Yeah, when OPWC, I can't give you an exact date because sometimes they go through the grants quickly and sometimes it takes them longer. But within the next month or so, I should expect to hear some kind of where we rank.
So if we hear nay from the county or OPWC.
Correct. Then we can strike our own path and move forward with it.
Yeah, and then we shuffle the deck and see where dollars come out and whether or not we can put that into this year's budget.
There's what, like 60 grand in stormwater, Daniel?
Or early next year's budget. We don't have to wait until July.
I don't know.
No, I think.
You guys are always on stormwater and I leave it up to Tim to keep track. I don't know. I would have to
This
look
is
at
the
it.
money direction and this is the pipe direction. So,
All right, so we're gonna hold off and construct in 2025. Would it be foolish to hire a contractor and clean out some of that ditch so that the residents see some action, or would that just possibly be causing a bigger problem?
It would likely exacerbate the problem downstream, because all the debris, all the woody vegetation and debris that's in that drainage channel, while not ideal, it does slow the water down measurably. So, with a sympathetic ear toward the residents downstream of that drainage channel, we ought to not make it more efficient until we have a place for the water to actually go once it gets there.
Do you have an opinion on that, Tim?
It sounds logical.
2025 it is. Anything else for your engineer?
Eric, you said this June 25th, the road program is gonna start?
Yeah.
They're gonna cold in place recycle, so I have a couple weeks of culvert pipes to do, okay.
Yeah, that, per the schedule that they submitted their pre-construction, where we had a pre-construction meeting, with the folks from Specialized here weeks ago. And their schedule said they were, toward the end of June, give or take the 20th. Okay, so I'm just going off of the information that they provided then.
Okay, street commissioner, you're up.
Submitting my monthly report for May. Additionally, the guardrail coming from Newberry into South Russell is completed. It was completed Saturday morning. It looks great. I think it's going to be very effective. It starts before the curve and ends after the utility pole that was in question,
And I've already inspected it.
right before the driveway.
Glad that you didn't.
Anything else I have will be brought up by the police committee.
Think how many times I drove that.
Questions of the
20
street?
years, you know?
Questions of the street commissioner?
Were you also looking for additional signage for that?
There's one arrow right on the guard, or behind the guardrail, and I'm gonna ask the county for maybe two more,
Okay.
if they would do that. They might be located in South Russell, but I'm gonna ask them, so they would all match.
And I will take the pool within the next 3 months. There'll be a scratch on it. Somebody's already bounced off. Anybody wants-
Yeah, but it's gonna do more damage to a car, isn't
Somebody's
it,
gonna
than
hit.
anything else?
It's guaranteed.
All right.
One other thing, Tim, can you comment on the work that was done at 108 Fairview? Because this is the area that we're talking about for stormwater and Hamlet, or Hemlock rather.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about that project?
With the last few storms that we've had, there was need of additional inlets put into the 24-inch pipe that we put in the ground. So the service department put those in, we let the area settle, and then the sealing was not included in the quote because we wanted it all to match, and I didn't want any complaints from residents about, well, took care of the hydro seeding, and we did that early, and so that grass should be growing up anytime soon with the 2 additional inlets that we did install. So phase 1 of that project is completed.
Good. Thank you.
Any other questions of the street commissioner? Street committee?
Street committee, we have not met since May, but yet we have 2 things to talk about today because we are awesome. First and foremost, at the entrance of Waverly Lane down there last week, Tim called me and I came over and saw there was a small sinkhole, looked like it was about the size of a telephone pole. It just sank all the way in. So Tim's crew hydro excavated the area, thinking they're just going to replace a small section of pipe. Turned out the entire pipe length going west for, I don't know, 20, 30 feet.
It's 10-inch way.
Completely crushed. It has to be dug up, replaced. It's supposed to have to put the sidewalls in to get that out.
The pipe buckled and then it split on the sides and on the top.
Okay.
So the hope is to.
It's a much bigger hole now since I last saw you.
It's a much bigger hole than it was.
And Tim did receive 2 quotes. I saw you out there Saturday morning talking with one contractor, so I sped by really fast. To check. I'm like,
I'm
okay.
ready to check out the guardrail.
The lowest quote he got was for $3,500 from Watts Excavating. It's above the $3,000. It's my understanding there is room in the stormwater budget for this, but the council would have to approve this use of funds.
I have a question. Is that an old pipe?
It was put in 2013 with Bell Road project.
Really?
Yeah.
Why would that happen?
Well,
We're still trying to figure that out. We may know more once they get in there to open it up and start taking the damaged section out. Right now, we can just kind of see the top.
Yeah.
We can just see the pipes cracked.
Okay,
It could have been there was a car accident around then when the utility pole had to be relocated.
mhm,
There was talk of possibly it was put over the pipe, and when people may have noticed there was a pipe there and they moved the pole away from the pipe. But we're not pointing any fingers. First Energy was kind enough to come out at no charge and hold the pole while we did our excavating with the hydro excavator, which is a giant vac truck and a high pressure water and they vacuum out the dirt. There's no digging because of all the utilities that are coming off the utility pole. So, I didn't want to point fingers at anybody that anybody causes to happen, but we're there to fix it.
okay.
Any other questions of the street?
Do a motion?
Got a few things. So yeah, I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion that the street commissioner, the fiscal officer?
Well,
Is there an agreement or is it like a quote that Watts?
This is a quote. There's a verbal quote because it's an emergency. It's a verbal quote of $3,500.
It's just the difference between a motion and ordinance. The last two agreements with, Watts had agreements, we had to agree to terms. If they have to agree to terms, then you just have to do it as legislation rather than a motion.
Right, do you have it? Did they send you anything?
No, this is just verbal because they want, and I look for contractors to do the job right now because there's a giant opening in the ground.
So what's over there now, metal plate?
Right down now, it's barricades and tape.
Okay. Cause I remember the other one where they found stone while they were excavating and that was
Right.
quickly done that day. So, I mean, I'm sure they're able to come out whenever we say come and do it.
They're gonna come out Wednesday, they're scheduled to come out Wednesday, they left that open if everything goes fine today.
You think
Okay,
they
I
will,
apologize one more time. What was the amount? 6,500?
35.
Oh, 35.
35.
will they give us a written proposal?
I will have that tomorrow, sure.
And they don't have to. My question was, is there an agreement? The other two, the first one, when they found stone, there was not. We had a first agreement, then they found stone, they did an emergency, right, fix, and we agreed to
They
that.
had an agreement.
And then we ratified
We
it.
had to ratify.
But then there was another one, wasn't there, in Southwick? That we had a Watts, agreement?
Still Park Stormwater.
Yeah, that was it's their quoting process is what their paperwork. I'll have to take it out. That's not gonna be a problem. I'll take the agreement part out. That this will just be a quote for work to be done. This is how much we would like if you'd like us to do the work.
No, it's okay, I'm just wondering if there was an agreement, if there isn't, I mean,
There's
otherwise
not
we'd
right
have to
now.
come back and we'd have to do a contingent upon.
We'd like to have a written something.
Okay,
Let's do that. So your motion would be contingent upon receipt of a proposal, a quote from the vendor for this purpose. Not to exceed $3,500.
So moved.
Now, the only stipulation would be if they dig farther and the pipe is continued collapse. But as far as we can see, it's a 20-foot section. But we're gonna be there, I'll be there, during the day to check it, because we're gonna be working right on South.
so it could increase the amount.
I don't, it's a possibility.
It's possible.
Yeah, not likely, but
Not likely to
It could,
test.
okay.
So if that happens, then the contractor would be within his right to bill us for the additional work done.
Correct.
Provided someone from the village, an authority says, yes, go ahead and do it. Correct. Which would be the street commissioner.
I'll keep the mayor involved also.
Thank you.
And just as a precaution, head of finance too.
Okay. I will take the head of finance for a tour if you'd like to go.
Happy to go.
After the meeting, it's still light out, we'll go.
All right, can we go through this again, Chris?
Mark, you're my wordsmith.
Sure, I'll see.
I would like to amend the prior motion to include that the agreement between the village and is it
Lot 6 today.
Watts Excavating be reduced to some kind of writing, and that the contract be $3,500 or no more, and that it be done expeditiously for the street commissioner and the fiscal officer and the mayor to to thereby approve it. So moved.
Second.
All right, discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes.
Okay, next thing. You might remember last year, for a few weeks, the street service department worked 4 10-hour days in a week to knock out culvert replacements. Street commissioners asked if starting on June 17th, for 3 weeks, if the department could work 4 10s in order to knock out the culvert replacements on Southwick. You have 20 on Southwick to knock out. It may not take 3 weeks, but weather depending, it gives a little more cushion.
So that's starting next week?
And there's a note on this, last summer, it went really well. And I forget, 42 culverts?
It was almost 50, yeah.
This include your work on Bell Road East, or is that later?
That's gonna be later.
Okay.
That, a lot of that we contracted out because you have to close Bell Road.
Hmm.
And it's a 48-inch pipe, and I don't know if it's gonna be concrete or, I don't know what that pipe's gonna be.
On Bell, it'll likely be poly, so it'll go a little faster, so you don't have to have. the-
When are they starting?
You
The
do have to
17th,
close
so
down
next
We
month.
will have to close them one way to half.
one lane, okay.
Likely.
Yeah, that's right. So that'll be the weeks of June 17th, 24th, and then July 1st.
If we need to go that far. I think we can do it in 2 weeks, but I'm not.
So,
And we're working on possibly having a guy here on Friday also. So we'll take one guy off on Monday, one guy off on Friday. And
So-
during the week.
Street Commissioner, please, explain to me, what do we gain in those 2 additional hours that we wouldn't gain in another day of work?
The setup and breakdown is what the important thing is. We could do 4 culverts in a day if we have 10-hour days. And we could do 2, maybe 3 on an 8-hour day because of setup and breakdown. When we're just leapfrogging from one driveway to the next, we have everything on site.
So it works.
It works. It's been proven to work, sure.
Well, I mean, proof to work is, we don't have really any quantifiable data besides we accomplished this much
Come on, have a look.
last year.
Well, we could say with authority,
Anything else?
we did 42 last year,
Just the date.
and we did a lower number 2 years before when we didn't have the 10-hour days. And there's a question of demand and how many were there and this and that, but the
Exactly,
rate is certainly better with the 10-hour days.
because what we don't know is what the demand was during that lower year period. So, I just question the value.
Okay.
I don't
Chris,
question
back to
it,
you.
you said it works.
Do we need a motion?
No, I think,
I didn't officially make a motion. Do I need to make a motion? I'd like to make a motion that the street department be able to work 4 10-hour days for 3 weeks, starting Monday, June 14th. 17th, I'm looking at 14th for something else, sorry. Monday, June 17th.
discussion. All those in favor say aye.
what happens for the July 4th holiday? How do we handle
That's
that?
my question.
The holiday would be paid on an 8-hour day, and you'd have to use 2 hours of comp
Okay,
to equal the 10.
okay. That's fine, as long as it's clear.
Any other discussion?
Juneteenth would be the same thing, that's.
Yeah, yep. It's gonna fall back.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed,
Nay.
motion passes.
Okay, and then one last thing is our next meeting is this Friday, June 14th. That's where I got the 14th from. At 7:30 in the morning in the street commissioner's office.
All right, thank you. Back when I rushed on hiring Steve Balaban, how do we make sure, you were a nay, right?
I was, yeah.
Okay, although we voted before I heard his nay. Do we put it in the records or something that,
Absolutely.
okay,
It's
so
already,
it's already in there, all right. All right, Chris, you're still on building committee.
Building committee, we meet this Thursday, June 13th at 8 a.m. in the building department. Pending anything from Councilman Canton, I have nothing else.
I yield.
That's it.
Questions of the building committee? Okay, a couple things. Street committee,
Mhm.
everybody, I guess. I did receive today the official notice from the street commissioner that he will be leaving us. September 30th will be his last day. I did sent out a little 10-point plan to hire a new street commissioner, so check that out. Let me know what you think about that. Building committee, Ruth provides us with a big report on everything she does. We also have a report coming out on the pavilion rentals. Is this needed, I guess, since everything on here is in her report? Does anybody know why we did this and this?
I did that just so, because in the past, council members drove by and said there was a big event going on, they didn't know what it was. So printing that report that you're holding that was included in my report is just, it's already in the system, it's a push of a button, so it doesn't take work to do it. And because there was discussion about toilets and that, I figured I would show everybody how much activity there is at the park pavilion.
Okay, and the other thing, on the idea of saving paper, we've been sending out architecture review, BCA planning commission meetings. We've never had any comments. If people read them, or is it necessary?
I read them line by line.
All right, thank you. We're now to the police chief. Chief is not here, safety committee.
Thank you very much, Mayor. The committee will meet this Thursday, June 13th at 12 o'clock noon at the station. Last Sunday, I attended Fishwood Cop. It was well received. People had a wonderful time. I want to congratulate the chief, the lieutenant, and the police force for a job well done. Dennis?
No.
Do you guys want to talk about the truck event or the car show replacement?
I do not.
July, I think it's the 14th. I think it's on July 14th. And the bike event is at the 23rd or the 30th. Anyhow, they're in the newsletter.
Right.
Questions of the safety committee. HR committee.
HR has a need to postpone their meeting that's this week. It was scheduled for 11 a.m. on Thursday the 13th, and we don't have a date yet. We will announce that and give at least a 3-day notice when we redo that. Mayor, I cheated and went off your list here. The administrative chart update, we did that, didn't we?
Yes, and Danielle improved it.
Okay.
She had to add some things to it.
All right. Danielle, do you want to address the benefits health insurance business?
I don't know what that's about.
It's the mayor's sheet of what's upcoming for 2025. Just, this is a common thing that you go through and read. You get the health insurance costs and so
That's
on.
not till the fall. I don't know why the mayor has it on the report.
Okay, because he's planning ahead. Okay. Health district issues. I'm not up to speed on that. There was a mailing went out, and that's huge for certain people with certain systems.
Yeah. I'll go back to the first one. Do you have anything else, Ruth, and I'll try to answer one.
I'm not sure. Just go ahead with it.
On the benefits, one of the things I've heard from the employees is the idea that we cap comp time. Which one do we cap at 80 hours?
Comp time.
Comp time at 80 hours. That may be something that we want to consider, allowing that to go up to 100, 120. Talking to some of the mayors last week, some of them were $200 if people can comp. I don't know the pros and cons, but it's just something to think about. The Geauga County Health District issues, when they built the new county building, the health district was under the assumption that they did not have to pay rent. They got a bill for $58,000.
It was a lot.
To maintain their
Brand new
inadequate
office.
facilities, in my opinion, in the new county building. That's still being hammered out. It's just ugly.
Last week's Maple Leaf said that they weren't going to charge them, but I don't know if that's a final decision.
Yeah, it's what?
It's a lot of rent.
It was just, you know, there was
I think it's still up in the air, and as a result of a public records request, they did find out that there is documentation that calls the health district a combined district vice a county. So that would indicate that they need to pay rent. So it is an ongoing issue, but inadvertently through a public, records request, they did find documentation that was upheld by the county administrator that said, we are a combined health district, and combined health districts pay rent to the county.
So that's the Lake County, addition. Lake County.
The city of Chardon. Really? Health districts provide health coverage and services to townships and villages. Okay, cities are not covered by health districts unless there's an agreement that they enter into. The agreement was entered into between the city of Chardon and the health district, which then changed the nature of the health district to a combined health district. So therein lies the issue that is still being addressed. It has nothing to do with the agreement with Lake County.
Okay.
Keep going, Bruce.
Mayor, can I suggest that the issues that you've laid out for the Human Resources Committee should be tackled in committee and then brought back to council as necessary? Rather than try to
go line by
decide
line?
what these are line by line?
Okay, all right. That is all I have for HR unless Chris Berger has some more he wants
I
to
have
add.
nothing else to add.
Questions of the HR committee? Ruth, we're at the property committee.
We're at property and the bathroom takes too much thought and too much precedence. That's the biggest thing. And we've talked about it ad nauseum and we're going on. Hopeful. Sorry, my report is for tonight and I'm aware of that. Then parks. I'm sorry, Jerry, do you have anything to add on properties?
No, I do not.
Parks, we meet the 18th, which I believe is it's a week from tomorrow, at 6:30 at the park. And the main discussion will be the setup for the fall festival and what we're going to do.
Questions of the parks or the property committee? Ruth, can we get a motion that we can enter into an agreement with the Jogga County Park District to hold the burn of the South Russell Park
Sure.
in 2024?
Are we going to actually do that?
We want to.
Does Parks want to do that?
Yeah, are you up to speed on this? It's
I am not.
small. It's no more than 3 acres. The mayor witnessed the one out at what's it called? Troy Wetlands, Burton Wetlands.
Burton Wetlands.
It's off Pond Road. He was there. They dig all around. So pretend you're in any fire anywhere, California, wherever you dig the trench all the way around and very controlled with a water source.
It was
So,
suggested that the park would be 1/3 of the park would be burned. Take 3 years, of course, to burn the entire park.
I think it was less than that, wasn't it, Jerry?
Well, initially, a couple of years back,
3
it
acres.
was recommended that 1/3 of the time should be burned.
So.
Remember
So those that I know that are proponents of this, you get rid of your invasive species and your good things. There are hardy trees that come back and thrive because of this. Mayor investigated Davy Tree. They wanted $11,000. The park, you weren't here. Okay, so that's why you don't know this. The park district will take precedence at a sort of no cost, but would appreciate a donation toward the park board if they do this. And it's very weather dependent.
Sure.
So you can't have any wind.
Right.
And certain other conditions. And both the mayor and I have talked to the people at the park.
Who coordinates with the fire service? Is it the park
I-
board or
I don't know the answer.
At the burn in Burton Wetlands, Paul Pura is from the Park District. He
Good question, Tom.
He brought in the fire trucks and the ambulances. He handles it all.
He brought it in from
Burton,
the community,
yeah, Burton.
so I doubt that Burton will be providing fire services.
No, it'd be Chagrin.
He's,
Well, all I'm saying is,
that one was in Burton, that's
is he coordinating those, or is that something the village will have to engage the fire service with?
I don't know.
We don't know.
And is that an additional cost to bring the fire department out to watch the burn?
don't know
We
that
don't
either.
know.
Okay, so we don't have a budget number to put in to put down as to what this is going to cost.
Are people able
Tim,
to
have you
use the
done this
park?
as part of the volunteer fire department or something?
When they did it flooring, it wasn't necessary. Everything was controlled, their people are on site to keep everything under control and within the parameters of the burn.
So they didn't have a
The fire
fire
department
truck
wasn't
there,
needed when they did flooring, and that was a big one, they did a lot,
acres.
acres.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we have a motion that we contact the Jogga Park District to hold the burn in the fall of 2024?
After the fall festival, right?
Thought about a couple things. One would be a great educational activity to show the people what happened, but it's hard to say if it's burn in September is good enough or not. There's really, Paul Pura said, he's got about 3 or 4 good days a season that they can burn parks.
Okay.
So it's kind of a hit or miss, and he will give us like a couple days' notice. So if we could pass a motion, we could proceed with getting the information and get back to you. There's no
Yeah.
contract as yet. There's no financial cost, but we can find out.
And if the area to be burned is not mowed, and then the rest of it is mowed and removed, that's more, that it's not gonna spread, it's not gonna go any farther. There won't be any fuel.
The festival is September 29th.
Yes, it is.
Details.
And I'm sensing Jerry wants a good-looking park.
Mr. Mayor, can I suggest that we get some sort of document from Paul laying out these parameters with the understanding it's not gonna happen before the fall festival. These are what the costs are anticipated. This is the other organizations that need to be involved, if that is the fire department, et cetera, and get a document that sort of gives us what we need to know so that we can then go forward. I mean, I don't have a problem with the burn. I just would like to have the details on a piece of paper.
Okay, so we'll go forward getting everything together, but we really don't need a motion yet.
No,
Okay.
We'll come back to it. Okay.
My thought is the people on Southwick and the neighbors, at 1100, I think would be very interested in how this is all going to happen. And if the wind is wrong and, it starts blowing in the wrong direction,
We walked it with street commissioner, member of the park committee, a couple people from the park committee, I believe, with Davy Tree.
Okay.
We decided if we did anything, we would burn the East Washington side because there's only one house that's really close by.
okay.
Yeah, the people, we've already had the conversation with the wind switches and the Daisy Lane people are in here with pitchforks.
Has that portion of the park been annexed to us, Mayor? Or is that Bainbridge?
No, we took it.
So it's,
Sorry,
okay, okay.
We have more on that side than we do on the,
Yeah, we got 17 acres.
And they were surprisingly cool about it too.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Okay, anything else for the Parks or the Properties Committee?
I will say this, that park committee is, they're magnificent. They are wonderful to work with.
Okay, no questions there. We're Public Utilities Committee.
The Public Utilities Committee will meet on Friday, June 14th at 9 a.m.
And if you can be an engineer, that'd be great, and if not, we understand.
Yep, and we'll
Okay,
That's it.
questions of the Public Utilities Committee?
I appreciate all you guys have done with everything, Fairview, all of it, the culvert, a lot
All right,
And more to do.
Solicitor,
coming.
we are now at ordinance with resolutions. If we do not, then I guess I'm not sure, I want to hear in a minute. Power Clean Future Ohio, if people have any questions, if we do not vote on it tonight or not read this tonight,
So table
is
it.
it no big deal? Can we table it?
You can table it, you
Table
can
it?
also, if you don't wanna move forward with it, you could also withdraw it, and if you wanna move forward with it at another date, you can simply reintroduce.
I suggest the third reading of Power Clean Future, that we table that resolution. So we need a motion for that.
To table,
Yeah.
correct.
Somebody like to make a motion to table that?
I'll make that motion.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Been tabled. We are at the, Ruth, this is back to you. You're now renting, or no, this is safety. Sure, it's you. You're
Second reading of an ordinance approving the lease agreement between Ayers Company and the Village of South Russell in an amount not to exceed a total of $650,000 for $650.
Thank you.
That's from 120 to 250 to 650,000.
Never losing in the 40s.
I'm gonna move into that.
That was like a truck stop.
Yeah. $650 for portable restroom facilities and service for 2 specific events, sponsored by and located at the Village Police Department, authorizing the chief police and fiscal officer to execute the lease agreement on behalf of the village and declaring an emergency and suspending further readings.
We need a second.
Second.
Roll call.
Bell.
Aye.
Berger.
Aye.
Canton.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Licky.
Aye.
Porter.
Aye.
Motion to adopt?
Second.
Bell.
Aye.
Berger.
Aye.
Canton.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Licky.
Aye.
Porter.
Aye.
Ordinance passes. Next one, this is a finance issue, Chris.
Introduce and consider for adoption an ordinance amending section 2 of ordinance number 2021-66, which authorizes the expenditure of village funds and the reimbursement by the village fiscal officer for food and drink expenditures incurred by village officials and employees at certain events, declaring an emergency, waive further readings.
Second.
Roll call.
Bell.
Aye.
Berger.
Aye.
Canton.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Licky.
Aye.
Porter.
Aye.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Discussion here for a second. Now, do we have everything covered? The reason I say that is, we hope so.
We hope so, I'm not sure.
Can we leave something open so we don't have to come back?
We do have something in there and similar events,
Yeah,
Similar events, okay.
but it has come up from time to time, so some of these events are annual, and let's just.
so then you still have to do it every time.
Well, what we've done, things that aren't on a regular basis, we've just done it by motion for that particular event. That's how we were doing the veterans thing, by motion for that particular one, but I contacted the solicitor and I said, this seems to be an annual event now, so we added it to the legislation.
There is a list of events,
They're
and
really,
it's getting longer.
it is getting long.
Yeah. We did $3,400 worth of food last year. I'm thinking of, okay, so if we do this burn in September, they're working for free. If we wanted to get them sandwiches and a bottle of water, do we have to come back and do all that?
Or I'm giving them a donation.
Or are they working for free?
We do,
Fire department is not.
Good question.
No good deed goes unpunished.
okay, but you could come back, and the motion would just have to make sure that we say it's for a public purpose, right? So that's what we were doing, and so this,
Last year's was high too because we had the 200th events,
Yeah, we did some big stuff.
which were it was necessary and it was very nice and I appreciate it.
I guess I'm trying to streamline, but don't bother. All right.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Bell.
Aye.
Berger.
Aye.
Canton.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Licky.
Aye.
Porter.
Aye.
Ordinance passes. Chris.
Introduce and consider for adoption an ordinance transferring from the income tax fund up to $10,824 even to deferred benefits and up to $33,000 even to the safety fund, declaring an emergency, waive further readings.
Second.
Roll call.
Bell.
Aye.
Bricker.
Aye.
Canton.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Licky.
Aye.
Porter.
Aye.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Bell.
Aye.
Bricker.
Aye.
Canton.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Licky.
Aye.
Porter.
Aye.
Ordinance passes. We are at the,
Introduce and consider for adoption an ordinance amending the appropriations, the annual appropriations, increasing deferred benefits expenses, $10,824 even, safety fund expenses, $183,000 even, and income tax transfer expenses, $43,824 even, declaring emergency, waive further readings.
Second.
Bell.
roll call.
Aye.
Bricker.
Aye.
Canton.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Licky.
Aye.
Porter.
Aye.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Bell.
Aye.
Bricker.
Aye.
Canton.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Licky.
Aye.
Porter.
Aye.
All right, ordinance passes. We are now at the bills list.
Motion to ratify the bills list of May 30th, 2024 in the amount of $41,782.33, and June 7th, 2024 in the amount of $68,612.24.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We are at new other.
Bell.
Just a few things. We often celebrate the wonderful residents who are students in our community. I just wanted to point out another one who we're fortunate to have in our community. He just graduated from university school. His name is Julian Gargas. Lives over in Foxway, I believe. In addition to his phenomenal statistics from his lacrosse season, he was also named by USA Lacrosse as an academic All-American. So congratulations to him. I'm proud to have someone like that in our community. You're here. Secondly, I just want to wish a happy Pride Month to those residents who are in the LGBTQ plus community. That's all I have.
Bricker.
None.
Canton.
None.
Kavanaugh.
None.
Licky.
None.
Porter.
Just one thing, I think it's gonna come up at the streets meeting, but the, building specs for the salt structure, can you get better with the name for it? Salt shed,
Salt storage building.
That's not.
SSD.
I don't know, we'll consider it at the streets meeting, but for the bid specs. for that
Anything else?
project. That's it, Mayor.
We're good. Just to remind you, we do not meet for almost 1 month. On July the 8th, we have a motion to adjourn at 8:27
Move.
by Kavanaugh, seconded by
Second.
Porter. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned at 8:27.
Thank you for bringing up that fire department.
Probably 92% of his face.
Wow.
No,
Where's he going to school? He's gonna get a 4 ride.
He was going to the US for free for that.
That doesn't make sense.
Okay.
They
well,
actually
let's-